Hey everyone, in this module we're going to talk a little bit more conceptual and less skills-based specifically, and we're going to talk about online business models. And so the big question, obviously, with the onset of digital media and the internet and all this technology is that, how do you make money when you're giving away news for free? How do you make money as an advertiser? How do you make money as a PR professional? How do you make money when a lot of your products are digital now, and a lot of times people want your product for free in a digital format, and they're less and less willing to pay for it. We've seen this happen in the music industry, where artists, traditionally have had a really specific way that they make money, and record labels, it was already kind of built out with the production companies and record labels. Well, with the onset of digital media, people started sharing music for free, and artists weren't getting paid anything for a lot of their songs. And so they've had to navigate through this. And the idea is not just musical artists, but every area of our industry, every industry has been affected by the onset of digital media. And so the big question, especially as it comes to news and information, is how do you make money when you give away things for free? And that's what we're going to talk about today in this online business models. The idea that the world we're in is very different from what it was even 20 years ago. And so it's becoming more and more important to become entrepreneurial minded. And that's what you're going to learn about in your online module this week as well, is entrepreneurship and different topics and concepts related to that. So I want to start by talking about the long tail. This was a concept that was written about by Chris Anderson, the former editor and CEO of Wired magazine. He came out with an article in 2004 specifically talking about this concept of the long tail. The idea is that prior to the digital age, most marketplaces could only make money on the hits of the industry. So you think about places like Walmart. They have a physical brick and mortar shop, and they could only sell what sells. They're only going to sell the hits. They're going to sell the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Drake, Madonna. They're going to sell the ones that people have heard of because they only have limited shelf space. In the new marketplace, there really is no physical shelf space. You think about a company like Amazon, where anybody can create an account and sell whatever they want to. They're no longer limited by selling the hits of the industry, and they can sell as many as they want. And so you're no longer limited by the hits. And the idea is that there is created this very long tail, as you can see in the orange here, is as you have a wider and wider variety of products that you can sell, you may not make that much money on them. They may not be very popular, but you can actually make more money along that long tail because really it's infinite. The number of products, the diversity of sources that you could sell to or from is so unlimited that you can actually make more money along the long tail than you could just by selling the hits. And especially as it relates to online business and digital companies, is you can sell the hits and you can sell the misses, and you can make money on both of them. So you're not limited by just the long tail either. You have the head of it, and then you have everything in between. And so you think about a company like Walmart. It's a company that only has so much physical space that it can only sell the hits. But then it also has pivoted recently in creating an online marketplace as well. So it can sell all of those niche items as well. But it's also limited in the fact that it only sells certain items and people can't create accounts and things like that. And so there's a digital aspect to almost every brick and mortar store that you see now. If it's going to survive, it has to incorporate some level of the long tail in its overall business plan. And so it says here, Walmart must sell tens of thousands of copies of a CD physically to justify the shelf space, and replace that with anything. Replace it with a certain brand of t-shirt, certain companies that create, and replace that with anything. Replace it with brands of clothing companies. Replace that with movie makers. It really can only sell the hits, and it must sell a lot of the hits in order to justify that shelf space. You have places like Barnes & Noble, more traditional book companies that really, again, only had physical shelf space, so they could only sell products that could fit in the shelves. So they'd sell the New York Times bestsellers, the best of the best. And same with Blockbuster. You walk through, if you can remember those days, I definitely can. I still have my old Blockbuster card where you could walk through the aisles and find the movies that you wanted. But again, it's only limited by the shelf space. In today's digital marketplace like Netflix, we have so much more variety of options. We have all kinds of different categories of movies and a lot of data behind that, but we have so many options that it offers a lot more variety, and it allows you to kind of go down the long tail to get interested in these maybe less popular genres and movies, but again, it doesn't really cost them anything because they just built a platform where anybody could stream both the hits and the misses of the industry. Same with Amazon, like we talked about, or eBay, or a lot of these companies, where you can build a platform where it's not just selling the hits, but it's also catering to the misses, the B-sides, the extra tracks and the live tracks and all those kinds of things as it relates to music. And you think about iTunes. iTunes is a great example as well. It's a platform that allows creators to upload their own music and distribute that. This is my grandfather, Ted Sokolowski, and his orchestra. He has now passed, but I took all of his music from the 1950s and put him online on Spotify. You can find his music on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff. It's my way to kind of immortalize him, but also it is a niche market to where maybe there are people out there who want to listen to 1950s Detroit polka music. And there are, because I get notifications on how many streams it gets per year. And it allows anybody who has a band or is a local artist or even a creator of any kind, like think about platforms like Etsy, where anybody can create a profile, upload their own content, and sell it and create a marketplace. And so the long tail is something that is relevant to the new marketplace, where you can sell the hits and you can also sell a lot of the misses. We no longer live with physical shelf space. We have choices beyond the lowest common denominator fare. In the past, you could only sell what would sell. We really don't have to be limited by that anymore. We get more than just the hits now, and even the misses make money. So even the ones that you don't think would sell a lot, even though it doesn't sell a lot, you can sell so much of a variety that you make a little bit of money on the variety, and it does make up for it in the end. So there's three main rules of the long tail. The first rule is make everything available. Unlike places like Walmart or Blockbuster Video, they couldn't make every niche documentary available. They couldn't make every niche item totally available. But in the rules of the long tail, that's how this works, is that everything is available. You can find these finger food covers on Amazon. That's why you can find a burrito tortilla blanket on Amazon, or these little finger hand things, or this squirrel feeder unicorn, which looks hilarious when a squirrel goes to eat its food. It looks like a baby unicorn head. The idea is that there's such a wide variety on Amazon that Amazon has built a platform that makes everything available. And why wouldn't it? Because they're making money on these, weird as they are, unicorn squirrel feeders. And there's a market out there somewhere for it because they're not limited by shelf space. If you look at all the different categories that are on Netflix, there are over 3,000 unique categories on Netflix. This is an image of the long tail. Here are just a few: deep sea horror movies, New Zealand movies, action and adventure starring Anthony Wong Chau Sang, and campy B horror movies from the 1960s. These are specific categories in Netflix, showing us that there's such a wide variety of music and movies and everything that's out there, that these long tails really do exist, and they allow you to find almost any genre of anything that you're looking for. The second rule is that they cut the price in some way. That you can find things cheaper online normally than you could physically. I think about record sales or CD sales, or whatever you would want to call music sales in a physical format. Traditionally, it took time to record the song, put it on a record, send the record out, and actually you end up with a physical product. All that stuff costs money. It costs money to get the music onto the record itself. It costs money to build the album art, and it's a physical product. And so when we think about digital products, things like downloads or the music or the movies that we consume, it should be a little bit cheaper because there's not so much cost associated with it. And so that's why everything that we see online is less expensive than what you would see in a physical store. Because it's a physical store, you're not just paying for the product itself, you're paying for what goes into that product. Like if it's on a shelf at Walmart, well, Walmart still has to keep the lights on, it has to pay their employees, and it has to pay for the AC and all those kind of overhead costs. Well, you're not paying for that in a digital world. Most of the time you're getting it from this huge warehouse and a robot's getting it for you, and you're not paying for so much of the physical shelf space in that place, and you can buy things in bulk. And these warehouses can carry everything in bulk, and it's just more cost effective for them, and so it should be cost effective for us. And that's why we see things like free shipping, we see slashed prices and percents off online. It should cost less if you're going to get it in a digital format. And then the third rule is help me find it. The idea of the long tail is that the hits drive the misses. And so what happens when you go to a website and you buy something that you're looking for, or you find a show that you're really into or watching, or you listen to a song that you like, it always has that recommended area in it. It'll say you might also like, or people who bought this might also bought this. And so it wants to carry you down the long tail to see what else you might be interested in. They're not just interested in selling the hits. They want to pull you into that long tail so that you might find something that you also like, that you'll be there for a very long time, or you'll spend your time or your money on their platform longer. And so the idea in the long tail is that recommendations that we see all the time, you might also like, they drive the long tail. So you'll find things like the back catalogs, the live tracks, the B-sides, the remixes, the mashups, the covers, the foreign albums. And these are all music examples, but we can use that for almost any industry that you think about. There are many more products than most brick and mortar stores can carry, and that's why these recommendations are always part of your experience on a long tail platform. And so to them, a miss sold is still another sale. And that's the main thing that we need to think about here, is that because the internet is so diverse and there are so many opportunities to sell and to buy, we should be building platforms that support the long tail and support this diversity, and the idea that you can actually make more money in a long tail digital format than you could in the traditional brick and mortar just selling the hits of the industry. So these are the 3 rules of the long tail. Make everything available, cut the price, and help me find it. In the next video, we're going to talk about the free economy and how you can actually make money by giving things away for free.